Okay, good evening, everyone. Appreciate the countdown hasn't finished, but who cares, right? It's 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday night, and welcome everybody to another live discussion about what we dedicate our entire lives to and lose our hair and our social lives and everything else about. And it's been another interesting week, even on price action alone. We've certainly seen some hell of some moves from a fundamental point of view. Certainly areas that we're talking about, the launch of Detail last week. We've also, seen Bitcoin picking up, more and more sort of news headlines, particularly in the United States. At the moment, we've got different states actually discussing, strategic Bitcoin reserves, putting them past their, state representatives. We've also got the FTX payments. They've been confirmed. People have been confirming that those payments have been coming out. So, plenty of news cycles there, but it's not really where I want to focus a lot of my attention tonight. What I really want to talk about, I want to talk about Libra. I'm not sure if everyone is aware of what's been going on with Libra, the meme coin. So we'll have a discussion about that. We'll have a discussion about sentiment of the market, not just off the back of Libra, but that's certainly not helped. Where that kind of takes the altcoins and sort of how Bitcoin is doing from a price action point of view. We'll obviously have a look at price action across the boards. And we'll take some questions. I've only got one Avenger, pre-Avenger call question, so I'll have a look at that as and when. But if you have any questions between now and then, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll try and get round to them as best I can. And without any further ado, let's just dive straight in once I can find the right button. Okay, so here we are with the time frame. It actually looks, and when I look on the smaller screen, as in there's just an error with trading view on BTC 3-day chart. This is on the daily time frame. We just have a look at that. I will zoom in. Some of those candles just closed just on top of it. Very irregular price action over the last 2 weeks for Bitcoin. I appreciate they're red and green. Last couple of days red, but very static movement throughout most of last week. If we just blow it up on the bigger time frame, put it back onto the 3-day, we can kind of see we're still within that range. We talked about this range a lot last week and in previous weeks, and yes, we're going to go into why, but where Bitcoin may be heading, but that's the range that we're in. Last week we were still there. We were suggesting that actually that sort of 92,000, 93,000 level was probably the most logical place it was going to head towards, just given it was closer to that. Breaking through that on the 3-day, we look on the weekly as well, we may have some cause for concern because there's not really much holding us up between sort of 90,000 and about 80,000, 75,000. So we're looking for a bounce. Last couple of months we've hit this level many times and we have bounced from it. So nothing to really worry ourselves about too much with Bitcoin for now, but we've got to be monitoring it. We've got to be aware of just where this currently sits. And we'll have a look, as I say, a little bit later on, where that one might go. Having a look at some of this other one. So we've got Bitcoin dominance. Appreciate you can't see it, but I'll zoom in. Got to get rid of that W. We've seen the W now. We don't need that anymore. The neckline has broken as well. Let's get rid of that and that. But what we had that massive spike up. And that happened last Monday when the altcoin market both markets crap themselves, to be honest. And that spike is actually only for 5 minutes when you zoom in on the time frame. It's just altcoin fell first, Bitcoin second. And we started to have this rolling over, and there was potential for, well, you know what? We've had that sort of blow off top, even though it was only 5 minutes, and potentially rolling back down. But actually, it looks like we kind of corrected ourselves a little bit here. Seen a nice strong move in Bitcoin dominance today, not because Bitcoin has been doing well, but just altcoins have done even worse. And when we have a look at some EMAs a little bit later on, you're going to see that actually there's a pretty good level for that one to bounce and climb back up. So I don't think we're quite ready for that alt season yet. Certainly just looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart. And then when you look at total 3, I mean, unfortunately, this one just does not look good. So we've had a potential double top on alt 3. If you can't see that, which I'm sure you can here, this is the neckline. We've broken through it. And then all we've gone and done is just koboed off it, and it looks like we're correcting back down. So generally, the altcoin market not looking particularly healthy at the moment. And any of you that have dared to venture at your portfolios today or look at the right-hand side of my screen, you're going to see exactly the same. Just red across the board, with the exception of BitTensor. And I made a little facetious joke, perhaps, in Discord, and I certainly didn't mean it. BitTensor has done much better. And we'll have a look at the top 100 coin market cap in a moment. than the vast majority of altcoins and Bitcoins today. But this chart here, for me, is not really saying it's time to celebrate. Yes, yet days like this when everything else is bleeding, it is good to at least see your token that you believe in. If not, hold parity, climb a little bit out of that. So strength is welcome, but we're still in that downtrend. We really haven't done anything today. I'll put it on the daily. And all we've done, we're still in the range that we've been in for the last 2 days, not being able to break out of that. And you're going to see when we go on later time frames, there are some EMAs. So for me, broad picture, if you can't stay till the end, 420, I can start getting excited about BitTensor because we will have made a higher high, especially if it does come from this move here, because then we'll also have that higher low, and I'll just sort of start building that reversal pattern. But until then, whilst it is pleasant to see that today, and hopefully that has some fundamental implications, sorry, the implications of the fundamental change in detail is leading into that. No guarantee that it is, but as I say, I'm not standing on ceremony just yet. And if we have a look at crypto bubbles, this is the top 100 just on the daily. There are very few that are green. A lot of red across the board here. This is relatively updated. BitTensor up 5%, Maker up 4.5%, and Litecoin up 3.5%. Everything else pretty much in the red. Some of the big hitters in the red, Jupiter. We've got, I had them earlier, they've obviously shrunk a little bit. Bonk, Pepe, a lot of meme coins suffering today. And that probably has a lot to do with some of the news that has been coming out over the weekend into yesterday about Libra MEMECOIN. So I'm not going to go through this article, but this was sort of my introduction into Libra, because I find it ironic. And for those of you that don't understand the story, you won't find it ironic till a bit later on. But Pump Fund founder are effectively calling for safeguards, for sort of more checks and sort of, I don't know, more stopgaps in the meme coin market to avoid things like what's happened with Libra, and as they've dubbed it, LibraGate. I find that that's like basically finding a drug dealer saying that, you know what, heroin's not that great, maybe we need to put some curbs on that, but they'll still go out and sell it, because that's exactly what Pump Fund do. But what has gone on with Libra? Why has this caught the attention, and why has the market sentiment just turned so sour, particularly towards meme coins, but not just that? And for some of you will probably know who this guy is. This guy's called CoffeeZilla. This is his secondary channel called Voidzilla. But he conducted an interview with the co-founder of a company that effectively helped set up Libra, called Hayden Davis. This was yesterday. It went live yesterday. It's an hour-long, very open and frank discussion about the what happened with Libra. And, you know, if you've got an hour, if you're dealing with meme coins, I highly recommend that you watch it. I made some notes because I was going to talk through it, but then I found a tweet which kind of like did a TLDR, which I'm just going to summarize. It's a lot easier to effectively run through, but I'll post this link. In fact, I'll just do it now whilst we're here. Absolutely well worth it. I mean, his facial expression there was pretty much like mine, about the majority of it, and we'll explain why a little bit later on. But I'll just go to Rect Mando. So here's TLDR on the Libra for those of you who aren't aware. But effectively, Javier Milei, who is the president of Argentina, supported the launch of a meme coin called Libra. Now, I've used the term supported. Whether or not he actually wanted it to happen or just showed some support, we're getting conflicting information, particularly now that the shit's hit the fan and everyone's trying to distance themselves with it. But with the help of Kelsa Ventures, which the co-founder Hayden Davis, they set up this meme coin, and it is a meme coin, so it has no utility. And you listen to this guy in the interview talk about some, you know, delirious dream that in a couple of years' time, its aim was to fund Argentina's development and to have some utility, and everyone get on the back of it. What happens is the token launches, it gets support from the president of the United States, not United States, of Argentina, Milei. So obviously it seems very legitimate. There are other key opinion leaders, KOLs, you know, celebrities that start endorsing it, like Dave Portnoy, who's got a big following. And the token from launch just runs up to, as it says here, 4.5 billion FDV with a lot of volume. Seemed very good. The launch was with a single-sided LP. That's the liquidity pool from Meteora. So Meteora, like a DeFi platform in which you can provide liquidity for meme coins. So again, they're not quite pump fun, but they're there, not really helping it. And these names will sort of be battered around. It's not necessarily relevant, but if I use them, that's effectively who they are. And then suddenly the coin starts to fall, and it becomes clear that 95% of the supply is unlocked to insiders and the team. This Kelsey Avengers effectively make 109 million, 110 they've said here, from the liquidity pool and the coin sales. So the token has crashed, but they've managed to pocket 109 million. Melee then obviously distances himself from it, and it crashes down to 300 million. I think it's less than that now. We'll have a look in a moment. And the Argentinian president is, I believe, being charged with fraud. Whether or not it happens and he gets impeached, we'll have to wait and see. Now, okay, we've seen similar things kind of happen with CubaCoin and a few others. Don't think we've ever had the leader of a country so directly involved within this, but that certainly created a bit of a shitstorm there. It then turns out, when people are starting to look into this, that some of these celebrities, or at the time they were wallets, people were finding out that a lot of people were losing vast amount of money. One wallet in particular lost over $5 million through this, but then randomly were paid $5 million back. Turns out this was Dave Portnoy. He was not trying to hide it. He came clean with that one. And after speaking with Hayden Davis, basically Hayden Davis just personally refunded him the money. So it kind of started to present a bit of a sour taste of, well, wait a second here, retail's getting absolutely wrecked on the advisement of celebrities. And it turns out that some of these celebrities are getting their money back as if this thing had never happened. So there's a lot of nervousness about this. There's a lot of unsettlement online. And of course, this is the blockchain. So people start sniffing and start chasing down wallets. And it actually turns out that the wallet that was used to pay Dave Portnoy that $5 million is actually linked to snipers. So people that, deliberately target the prices, or sort of recently launched tokens to make money from it. So going back, the wallet that paid Dave Portnoy, which was Dave Portnoy confirmed was this Hayden Davis's wallet. He confirmed it was actually his personal wallet. Well, that wallet was linked to Melania token, which is obviously based from the president's wife, president of the United States now. So all this is starting to unravel. People wondering who the hell is behind this, and they dox this Hayden Davis. He lives in LA. We now know what he looks like. His face, everything like that. This guy starts to panic, and he decides to reach out to CoffeeZilla. CoffeeZilla agrees to speak with him as long as he can be interviewed. So that goes on. The interview itself is utterly wild, in which he just... You ever seen The Big Short? And there's this scene in it where a couple of the characters that are sort of starting to wonder whether or not there is some big scam here start talking to some mortgage brokers, and they sort of back away to have a little conflict, and they're like, why are they confessing to all this? And it's like, they're not confessing, they're bragging. And I don't think he was bragging, but just having this kind of frank conversation without thinking, Jesus, I'm going to put myself in jail for a very long time, feels like you just didn't have any filter and you were wanting to brag. So he was talking about, yes, they were aware of the token. Actually, let me take a step back. One of the first things he actually came out and said was that Malay had no involvement whatsoever in the rug, in the sniping, anything like that, innocent party. So we'll see whether or not that stands a test of time. But he goes on to admit, to confess that they did snipe it. They sniped their own token, and they did it because, well, that's what everyone does. That's what people now expect in meme coins, isn't it? And if you're an idiot from retail that decides to invest in meme coins, then it's your own fault that you lose money to people that are smarter, positioned better, and be able to take that money from you. So paraphrasing a little bit there, but that confession is what the facial expression, that's what this was, which was, kind of wild to take in. And he goes on to talk about a whole other thing. He then admits that his team were involved in Melania, and he has been involved in other pump and dump schemes for meme coins, admits that there were sniping in Melania, and that he took that sniping to try and, well, he says it's for the force of good, and sort of if they hadn't have done that, then the price would have dropped. They were trying to just provide one side of the liquidity pool. It gets a bit technical. I won't worry yourselves too much about it. And then he makes this comment, and this was probably one of the ones that sort of, if true, he's throwing another sitting president under the bus, because he claims that for the Trump token, 48 hours before the token launched, people were allowed to buy this token when the market cap was only 500 million. Now, bearing in mind that it's Trump's team, maybe not Trump himself, but Trump's team that's behind that and hold all the liquidity, that's effectively saying that Trump's team allowed that information to come out. There was no proof of that. It was just a statement, so we'll leave it at that. But again, another shocking admission. And then there's discussions about, well, who's really to blame here? And then there's Meteor, as I mentioned. There's Jupiter, which is the Solana DEX, etc. And they're all kind of trying to distance themselves from this, claiming there was no insider trading. No one got that information ahead of time. They certainly didn't do it. They weren't bribed by any sniping Telegram groups to provide the contract address ahead of time, etc., etc. But everything is starting to smell. And suddenly what we're finding is that meme coins are just not the gateway to money that everyone thought. I mean, most of us, when we sit down and really think about it, most of us will agree that most meme coins, 99.99999%, absolute scams. But we treat them as potentially a bit of fun and an opportunity to try and make some money. But for me, watching that interview, reading about this weekend, I feel this is what a lot of people on the internet are starting to really wake up to, is the chances you're playing blackjack against a rigged casino. Okay, they know what they're doing. They know the contract addresses ahead of time. They can sort of single-sidedly prop things up. They can buy at incredible speeds, even during the first seconds of launch, or even before that may happen. And they're just going to dump it on you no matter what. And so it kind of just felt, well, what's the point then? I mean, we're all probably feeling that right now because sentiment's been pretty bad for weeks. But suddenly we are starting to see a real kickback in sentiment on meme coins. And initially, that kind of, in my opinion, moved to sort of Ethereum and Ethereum-based meme coins. And we saw that Solana took a bit of a beating, although we're going to talk later about Solana as to why that price is falling, or potentially. And Ethereum picking up. And so, there was, okay, well, maybe it's just a Solana-based things. But when you actually go through X, and some of the things that I do when I'm looking through X, in the week leading up to the call, is I just bookmark things that I want to talk about. And some of the things that people were talking about, meme coins should die. Okay, Ethereum-based meme coins about to perform. This man single-handedly saved ETH. There's plenty more pictures. So this is him. This is Hayden Davis. Killed Solana as well. Argentina's stock market, I mean, that tumbled 5.7% just on the rumors of the Libra crypto scandal. When the entire market is a bit tired with meme coins right now. I just saw this constantly berated of just everybody crapping on meme coins. Exchange should stop listing and prioritizing meme coins. Hypocritical to tell people to build when primarily they're just listing meme coins. Timeline's insane right now. It's worse than FTX. I think that yesterday certainly felt like that. I mean, that Martini guy, he likes to promote shit coins, but even he is getting a bit fed up with it all, probably because he lost millions. But I just got the sense that actually this was just starting to get very wild. And you can kind of see this is all just from like last 2 days of me bookmarking things I think might be interesting to talk about. I don't really want to waste too much of everybody's time on it, because you just watch that Libra video interview, you'll get a sense of the entire conversation that's out there. The one thing that is amusing, I didn't bring it up. The one thing I think is amusing is obviously what's happened there is the Argentinian president. So Milei is, he's trying to distance himself. Whether or not he was involved in the rug, he certainly helped promote the token and sort of saw the force for good. There's images of him photographed with Hayden Davis, etc. And now here he's flat out refusing to apologize for it. He's saying you wouldn't apologize if you go to a casino and lose your money, so what's the complaint? And he's saying, well, I didn't actually promote it. All I did was retweet it, which, hey. Anyway. And so I think there's an element here of how much trouble is he going to be in? And because of that, what are the long-term knock-on effects for this? And unfortunately, we just have to wait to see how this one rolls out. It is a shame because I think up until this moment, Some of the stuff he has been doing for Argentina as a whole has been very positive, and then he's just gone back to shitcoin, and it's just ended up blowing up on his face. And I can forgive all that, except for, and I did it on. You have to just bear with me a second. Did I save it here? No, I didn't. Where the hell did I save it? Sorry, I can't think where I saved it now, which is really annoying. It wasn't on here, was it? I did a screenshot. I couldn't put it on there, so I just did it on Paint. And I want to find it now because I think it'd be useful. Yeah, here we go. So I can forgive all of that. But the problem is, so this is the Libra price action. So you can see it launches, it flies up, gets rugged immediately, and it just starts sitting here in its rug territory. Then yesterday, you know, I know it's not translated, but someone tweets, this is after the news has broke, how much of a shitcoin Libra is, and it's been rugged, etc. I don't know who Dario Epstein is, but he tweets about how you can buy Libra. Maybe he's not aware of the news that's broke, but Malay retweets it himself, and suddenly it spikes up twice in value, and then it gets sniped again. So yeah, it's one thing to be involved in the project, and that project just blow up in your face. That happens to countless celebrities because they don't understand crypto, and these people just take advantage. You know, these developers that understand how cryptocurrency works can take advantage of that, releasing the information to snipers or just doing the sniping themselves, whatever. But, you know, after that's happened, the optics of, well, then what, 2 days later, retweeting how to buy it, even though 75,000 people have lost collectively $286 million worth, is not the best look. So, yeah, not exactly where it needs to be. These are just ones here that someone has filed a complaint with the US DOJ, FBI amid the Libra fallout. And yeah, so this is found that only critics only bitch when left out of insider deals. That's one of the things that I find quite amusing. That interview's got some hell of drops in it. Sorry, crypto ones, but am I correct? If you don't stake in a subnet specifically, okay, I'll come back to that in a moment. Sorry there. So yeah, we've started to see that. I'm going to bring the other. We've started to see that, you know, these tokens have started to fall away, and I thought that was going to be it. Matter of fact, yesterday I did a thumbnail which was, you know, will Libra be the start or the catalyst, whatever, for alt season? I thought this could be a promising start, but then price action and Bitcoin decided to have their weary way. So we're going to have a look at some price action now. We'll come back to the fallout of Libra in a moment, but we'll start with Bitcoin. We'll start on the usual 12-hour time frame, having a look at this, and again, this is what we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks now. Unfortunately, we've not wanted price action to necessarily get here, but it was fairly written on the walls, that this is what was going to happen. So we got the two liquidity blocks, down at 94.6 to 92.400, and then the one at 108. Price action's been in that lower half, that battle with the 100k, just can't seem to win it over the past couple of weeks. And so it just, to me, felt inevitable that we would come back and retest this liquidity zone. If we have a look down here, can I put this on full screen? I don't think so. You can just start to see it's just starting to eat in to that block of yellow and green down there. So I think the blocks I've got on my master are fairly clean. But we've also got the 1.618 at 94,311, which is exactly where this candle has hit. And we've also got 3 and a bit hours for it to go. So it could go further. But right now, resting on that level, just dipping into liquidity. So now it has actually dipped back down. So, you know, this is obviously going to just close itself off over the next few hours. I can find out how to do it. You know, in reality, when this call ends, that will be like that until it builds up again. But we start to see that it's eaten into there. And this is where I go back to, this was a known level. So I don't think we need to necessarily worry with Bitcoin heading down to this level, and we'll have a look at some other levels it can go to. But the ramifications of Bitcoin heading down to that level, with sentiment being in the gutter at the moment, and just Bitcoin dominance is still climbing despite Bitcoin's price falling, inevitably means that altcoins have taken an utter kicking, and it's just been day after day after day. And it really is feeling like altcoins are not the play as of right now. I know some of you are sidestepped on some of you are sitting partial altcoins, partial USDT, or partial altcoins, partial Bitcoin. But right now, just being in alts is not a very comfortable place to be. And what we really need to now see is now that we've got down to these levels, we'll have a look on another chart in a moment, but these sort of levels at 94 down to about 91,000, levels where we have bounced from before, we need to see that bounce, if for no other reason than to try and breathe some life back into the altcoin market. Because sentiments such as the meme coin fallout has just helped to drive that market down. People are just thinking, is this not the right place? We've also got to think about, and again, this was spoken about at length last week on both Tuesday and Thursday's call, most people, when looking back on their previous experience within 4-year cycles, have actually thought that their alt seasons would have popped already by now, and we should be sitting in healthy green positions. And the reality is, unless you actually got into the altcoin market 2 years ago and selective on those alts as well, there's chances are that you're not going to be in profit. I mean, I will look at Solana now, but I'm going to come back because Solana on the daily has retraced all the way back down to the Trump bump. Okay, Solana is what carried the Solana is effectively the Nvidia of the crypto market. It has carried crypto through this sort of resurgence of a bull season. I mean, at one stage it was at $8. It got all the way up to $300. This has been, for a high capped altcoin, one of the major players, and its success has brought everything with it. Again, a lot of its success is based upon meme coins, and so there's a logical conclusion that actually Solana's capitulation in price over the last couple of weeks is because of the disinterest within meme coins. But I think that's a very new thing. It's compounding what's happening with the price right now, but it's not helping it. But going back to sort of Bitcoin and where the market is sitting right now, we look at the fear and greed, and I'm amazed that the fear and greed is actually only sat at 47. I feel YouTube, Discord, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, sentiment is far worse. I mean, someone made a tweet, the sentiment feels like FTX time. It does actually feel like that right now, which is amazing when Bitcoin is sat at 94,000. But the sentiment is so poor because the vast majority of crypto bros, myself included, are heavy in alts, and alts just aren't cutting it right now. I mean, even alts for me like Near, Render, Ondo, SPX, Tau to a certain extent, got in those, well below what the price currently is at the moment, but I'm almost round tripping some of them. And so that sense of here's what I had versus here's now what my portfolio looks like, it's just not helping with where we currently sit with sentiment. And I haven't sold, except for the Tau side steps, haven't sold anything. And one of the nagging things that I have going on in my mind is this is where market makers want us to be. This is actually the feeling that they want. And it's at times like these when the reversals absolutely fly from there. And that time back in FTX November, December 2022 was absolutely gutting us, but I decided that was the right time for me to start buying back into Bitcoin. It felt like it could go lower, and maybe it would, but that was it. So selling now, particularly when we have a look at sort of some of the charts maybe resting on support levels, it's just probably not the right time. But I get it. It is painful being in alts. CoinMarketCap at least has fear and greed a bit more reasonable at 38. Saying last week was actually worse. I wonder if this is going to update and take us a little bit lower. But I think that's probably a more realistic element within that. Looking at some of the bigger picture stuff, I mean, there's nothing really to see in terms of ETFs because all I care about is BlackRock, but the market was closed yesterday, so they didn't buy anything. And they've only had one red day in the last 3 weeks. They've not been buying a load this month, but they are still buying. Everyone else is still selling. But I can live with that right now. And we have a look at where we're currently sitting. So we're halfway through Q1, just gone through middle of Feb, and we are down. And that's unusual for bull market years to see that we're down, but that's currently where we sit. But we just remember, January at stages, we're down 8-9%, and then in a day we're able to recover, and we made 10% on the month. February's down about 8% at the moment, but positive moves over the next couple of days, and sentiment will shift. 2, this will move, and everyone will be waiting for it. And so when we actually now do look at the charts, we'll start higher time frame and work ourselves down. I've drawn. Well, let's just take this off. Let's just talk where we are right now, because some people have said, Harry, this looks like a double top, and it could well be, absolutely. But there were plenty of occasions in here where we look like double tops. So we've just got to it's a weekly chart, so it's going to take, sounds obvious, but 7 days for every bar to print. So we've got to be patient if we're looking on the higher time frames. And I still stand by those levels that I drew. I mean, they're going to be different slightly on the weekly now, but even on the weekly, that would be my neckline. If this is going to be a head and shoulders, that's the neckline. So what is the point of me selling now at 94 100 bang on the neckline? Because it could bounce not every time, but pretty much every time it's hit this level, it's bounced. And if it hasn't bounced, it's dropped below but wicked back up. So there's obviously a lot of buying support in that 94 to 91 region. So selling now is the worst possible time because it could break. The reality of it is, if we're going to use things like the weekly, you've got to be patient. I need to see it close below the weekly, and maybe even close below that line on the weekly, and maybe even see another candle. Or if we have a snap break down to this level and it closes below this, then I'm going to start thinking about wanting to get out, because unfortunately there's nothing there. The next logical level is that at 71. So that's worth taking the risk then. But until then, you sit on your hands. We've missed most of the move. We should have got out 106. Hindsight's great. This is where we find ourselves right now, and this is where we just got to suck it up. And the reality of it is, for those of us that have been here since the end of even the end of 2021, we've been in worse positions than this. We've been in fear and greed positions worse than this. It's just unexpected, because we always think of that final year of the 4-year cycle as just a glorious golden age in which it's up only. And it normally is, but there are times where it isn't like that. We just don't really see it how we're seeing the altcoin market right now. If I take these off and just now try and make some sense of some fib levels, then, so where was I drawing that one from? I was just thinking, okay, I could either do it from one or two places: the Trump pump, so when he was elected here, or just from the base. So we'll do the first one from the base, the bottom of here, up to the top, and where its fingers. And to be fair, that 90,000 level weekly chart, remember, it's actually not too bad a level, because candle close there, obviously the candle opens, but it does wick below and sort of forms that base on this one. We've had that one sharp move back down before it bounces up. So there's some logic there, but I've really drawn this one. But if we lose it, what are the levels that I would need to look at? And I'm not suggesting it's happening, but they're the things that you want to, take a screenshot of or whatever, and just think, well, if we do lose it, this might be the only things that we've got left to catch ourselves. And then, we get down into this, we've got to have a look at some serious conversation. I just do one last, not negative thing, but just something to sort of point out, because most of I like my market maker threes and all that kind of stuff. And, we used to do this all the time in 2022, 2023, 2024. We haven't done it really here. But saying this was the bottom with the nice W, move 1, consolidation, move 2, consolidation, move 3, consolidation. For how long, we don't know. But we only normally see 3 rises. So if we're classing that, maybe something just to think about, okay? I'm in a sort of a WhatsApp group with some traders that I've known in crypto for a good few years, and we always have the little rule of the 10th man has to believe in zombies, going back to that World War Z thing or Z thing, where if there's 10 of you in the room and the evidence is absolutely pointing in one direction, it's the obligation of the 10th person in the room to, no matter what, disagree with everybody. And there is someone in our group that effectively has assigned that role. And it's been a tough few years for them trying to deny the bull market, but we all think we're going higher. It's that person's job to say, guys, we might be at the top there. And I don't think that the bull run is over. That's not where I currently position myself in my belief right now. But just because I think something doesn't mean it's going to be right, you know? And so I will look for things like this and just see. And there's nothing to act on here because, one, I could have mistaken these steps. That could be one. And it's a long one if it is. Or it just doesn't follow patterns of 3 and we find another leg up for whatever reason. But I'd have to lose that level. You know, we got to come. And this could come all the way back down from a consolidation period, remember? So weekly chart, not to look at, but it's something to just bear in mind. Right, let's go on some lower time frames, the daily, and then we'll go even lower after that. I think we've kind of notified or, you know, sort of highlighted the areas that I'd be looking at. And I feel that this is going to be attacked. That to me seems the more logical place. I notice I'm not throwing any EMAs on right now. I just want to have a look at just at sort of price action. That's the one that's got the most action. And also, and I should really have it with the vector candles on, but when you go on the lower time frames, this wick down, it has left some vector candles. So, you know, there's some liquidity down there that could be easily targetable for market makers to try and take down. So that's where I'd be looking. It kind of ties in with the bottom of this 92,000. It does go slightly lower, obviously, but it's where we would consider. And then, you know, you've got a little bit of saving grace, which we saw from the weekly, maybe there. Takes out that 80, 89, maybe a little bit lower level because there's a shelf, but that's it. But so far, you know, this has caught us. We've been down to this level, you know, well, let's have a look. Since the Trump move, let's do how many times we've been down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. So 12 candles out of, I don't know, probably about 60. So we've been down here plenty of times. And every time it's met with a bounce, a strong bounce as well. So if we get down to this level, I'll be loading up. That's where I'll see is the opportunity to load up. And then, you know, maybe short-lived, and maybe we only take it to here. I would include that top bit, but it's just a massive area. It's got more candles within it. And maybe that's sort of the move, just back over to 100K, see how it does bounce away. We know we're still in that range. And then there's an opportunity for us to bring it back down. Now, when I do throw some EMAs on, so we've got the 50 and the 20 here. So not all the other ones. It doesn't have the cloud either. We can kind of see with that ranging pattern, you know, both of these are starting to flatten out now. We have seen a cross. Everyone will get excited. There's a def cross there. The 20's crossed back over the 50. And yet, on the cross, we have seen a drop over the last couple of days. I'm not denying it. But we had plenty of golden and def crosses in that 8-month period last summer. So yes, it can happen. Yes, it has happened. But if, and it's an if that is a def cross, you know, well, normally we'd see those on, you know, this kind of time frame after the tops have come in. So if that was to play out, you need to start to see these separate quick. Yeah, so that, and for those to separate quick is going to mean sharp, and I mean sharp falls down. Otherwise, you're just going to have it entangled, that's not a word, entangled, and just crossing over each other. So I acknowledge that it exists. You know, I'm not worried about it yet. I'm more concerned about it, you know, failing to stay within this yellow zone there. But I do accept that there is a golden cross there. I can't read them. That's it. Let's get the vector candle one up for the rest. So this is the chart. It's got the vector candles on there as well. It's got the EMA clouds. It's got the 10, the 20, 200 and the 800 EMAs, which are all the colors you can see there. But it's this one I've taken. It's the move from the bottom. Sorry, it's from the Trump pump. It's from the bounce off the 200 EMA. Okay. We've come back up, and actually, this one's kind of shown another. So we've got the areas of confluence here. You know, we've got the liquidity zones. We've got previous price action. We've got fib levels. And so this is only, again, round about 92,800, so 93,000 to 92,000, another area of which we've seen it come down and attack plenty of times before, but bounce off that one. So that's what I'm looking. I will admit, for the past 2 weeks, we have been under the 50 EMA, and it has beaten us down, and we've finally broken from it. And so that's our next move up really needs to take us beyond that 50 EMA. We can't just go up to it and then reject back down. We've got to break it. We've got to break it with volume. We've got to start building from it. Otherwise, we are going to find weakness. And the more times that happens, unfortunately, the likelihood of us retracing to some of these levels. And those levels that I was pointing out before with the fibs, you can now see actually there's vector zones in between some of these. So, the 382 to the 5, juicy vector zone there, right below just a 618, which again is our key level, another vector candle that could be seen to be recovered. So we just need to bear that one in mind. Drop it onto the 4. So I'm now sort of getting into that. This is the drop back down, like spike down. We got that vector, and then there is a potential. I don't know if you can see it there, and this vector candle, or this vector, then this green bit here. And look, there's the 800 EMA. It's that move down there. Could just spike down just to close it, bounce off the 200 EMA, come back up, body close above that. The perfect kind of scenario there to show a bit of strength from it as well before looking to recover. So I would definitely bear that in mind. In terms of short term, 4 hour, I would go lower, but vector candles are generally recovered. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see some chop to sort of take, to reclaim that vector zone before another move potentially down. There is a little bit of vector still remaining there, but we've got to get through this one first. I don't think there's anything more on the 1 hour that's really going to open our eyes. There's the vectors from the 4, kind of tying in with the 50 EMA. So, you may get a move even, this evening, take us back up to sort of 95,800, 96,000, and then just that daily open and then reject back through. We want to see strength if we do get up there. Want to try and clear it. But I've said many times, vector zones get recovered all the time, especially on the lower time frame. So the fact that we can see some gives us an idea that price action is probably going to head back there at some stage. It's just whether it comes down here and bounces, perfect. It goes up here first and rejects. Not really what we want to see. But unfortunately, that's kind of where we sit. I know I've not covered your question yet, Alan, but I will get around to it, I promise you. Bijan's put Central African Republic launching a MEMECOIN when they were the second country to make BTC legal tender. Seems a bit ridiculous. How much BTC do they own? I don't know, but I get your point now. Yeah, global governments are playing with us. I just think you got crypto bros playing with local governments. This is the way to do it. I can't believe that Donald Trump thought that he would launch a MEMECOIN. Someone's got to propose that. Anyway, that's my opinion. Makes me feel like even the governments that endorse BTC can't be taken too seriously. Yeah, well, okay. Blockchain Backer said that 107,000 was the 618 Fibonacci retracement for BTC, which is usually the point that the market is correct. The 618 is the golden ratio. So if he had done, where's he taken that from? To get to 107, only being the 618. I don't know where they've drawn that. Okay, maybe he's done that to that. It's 103 there. Just because you'd need it, with some height. So anyway, I'm not sure on that one, but it's not 618 at 100. Anyway, okay, fair enough. Let's quickly just touch back on Sol. Because I don't think Sol price is down solely because of Libra and MEMECOIN hatred. That's not helping, of course. Let's just assume, I don't think any MEMECOIN is doing particularly well, if I'm honest. A matter of fact, we just refresh this. This is CoinMarketCap. This is categories, and it is memes produced in the last 24 hours. Broccoli's up 100%, good for broccoli. Unicorn Fart Dust up 16%. But look, it only takes 6 meme coins and then we're in the red. Let's flip it the other way. Libra, obviously down 30%. Doge is down. Giga Chad's down. Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10, Inu, Fartcoin. I mean, look at that. At one stage, a month ago, it was worth nearly $3. It's now worth 30 cents, down nearly 90% in 30 days. SPX is down. So meme coins are struggling, no matter what network you're on. There's just a lack of interest over the last week or so within meme coins. So they are falling hard. And I think people are just, if they're going to flood to a safer asset, retail are thinking, right, well, I'll cut my losses and I'll go into something else. But going back to Solana. So yeah, we've got the rug pull scams, which I tried to at least shed some light on it. Benjamin Cohen, who does Into the Cryptoverse, and I think Bijan posted this in Discord. He kind of provided a breakdown of Sol versus Bitcoin. And you can kind of see, so if this is going up, that means that Sol's increasing in value versus Bitcoin. And so we've had that move up through 2023 where meme coins were becoming a thing. And then it gets to a sort of a pinnacle and a peak, and pump fund launches, and suddenly thousands upon thousands of meme coins are created every single day. And just Solana's just really struggled versus BTC to break out of this box. Now, this is a couple of days old because we are actually down here now. We're like at 0.017-ish. So there's definitely some correlation between those. Weakening against Ethereum. Yep, so I have this on this chart here. So if it's going down, it means that Ethereum's getting stronger, and we can see that Solana, certainly over the last 2 or 3 weeks, has been losing its value versus Ethereum. Ethereum's not done much from USD point of view, and it's not really done much from a BTC point of view. It's had a little bit of a move up yesterday, but not back down. But yeah, Ethereum seems to at least be pulling some of its losses back against Solana over the last few days. So they're adding up. But there's a couple of things for me, and I'm not sure if it's on here. Must be on the next one. There's a major unlock for Solana coming up over the next 3 months. So we don't always follow unlocks, particularly with Solana. Typically, they're anywhere from 180 to 250,000 tokens per month. So not small change by any stretch of the imagination, but not large amounts of token unlocks. But actually, what we see over the next 3 months, I think it is, and this shows it better, is we've got somewhere in the region of 15 million tokens unlocking, I suppose in the next 6 weeks. So we've got 3.2 million in February, nearly 10 million in March, and 2.7 million in April, which is far above the sort of the averages of where we see most token unlocks. And so the worry is that that's going to be flooding the market with Solana, and it's just going to create, far too much supply for demand, which is going to cause the price to fall. Now, what's really moving this price then? What is it that's driving the price down? Is it retail worried about where they're going to buy the next meme coin, or is it institutional investors that are now trying to sell and make some profit? Because bear in mind, all that SOL that was tied up in FTX was actually bought by Galaxy at $64. $64. So even now selling it at 180, 200 when they started selling, still a 3x for them. Nice, healthy profit. So there's a good chance actually that players like them, large institutional players, seeing huge amounts of Solana tokens, and it's $7 billion worth. It's nearly 5% of the total inflation, the total circulating supply being released over the next 3 months. They decided, right, now's the time to sell. There's going to be a lot of sell pressure anyway. It's going to be far too much supply in the market. We're going to start taking profit and selling away. And I think that seems more likely to me than, because the fall in price actually started in January. It peaked in January, it's fallen away. Well, meme coins were still going. Matter of fact, we had Trump and Melania and a few others after that date, but yet Solana has continued to fall. So this looks more like institutional players, big players selling Solana than anything else. Then add on top of that, we know that FTX is reimbursing people. Now, it's been that long that I've not really looked into FTX. But if they're reimbursing people back with their Solana, people may just also be looking to sell their Solana. I don't think they are reimbursing back in Solana, so that might just be a bit of a red herring. But it's something to definitely consider. And so I just, whilst people may say that Solana is presenting an ideal opportunity for a re-entry into the market at a much lower price, I just wonder whether there's further falling to come over the next couple of months. And at the rate it's falling, even this level here that I'm going to mark off may not be enough, but I would certainly be looking to see whether or not we can get down to this. We're on the weekly chart here, but that's sort of like 125 level. We can get down there. If we're lucky, maybe you can get it down to sort of 95, 90 level. But that first one, if you wanted to maybe try and back a horse and you're looking for a good entry point for Solana, that for me is probably where I'd initially be looking. I'm just wondering, weekly chart, this is going to be messy, but that move up there, I mean, it does tie in actually. That fib level, you can't see it because it's in the box, but 137, and then the 382 at 93. There are some fibs that kind of do tie in with that. That's going to move all the way back to 2023 because it's the weekly chart. But maybe potentially there's some confluence there of an area in which you could start to look to build a position or build a long position. And yeah, just take it from that. Moving across, that's the pump fund. Right, okay, I've done that. Right, let's have I'll try and cover Alan's question first, and then I'll go through this question, and then we'll go from there. Alan, you've gone, Crypto Wonder. If you don't stake to a subnet specifically, if you haven't done anything to your stake wallet, then you are staking to root now. As far as I'm aware, the statement you have made is correct. I feel like I'm doing a legal video here. As far as I'm aware, the statement you've made is correct. Please do not come to me for accountability. The only reason I say that is I've done nothing. I only have a small amount of TAO left because I've sidestepped. And what I do have left, I've just left on the exchange. So I've not tried since details come out and to move anything. Nothing was staked at the time when I sold it. So unfortunately, I don't know. I was led to believe that if you did nothing, it would go to the root. But whether or not that actually manifests itself, I don't know. After this call, I will have a look and see if I can help you. Cheers, Tits, but I won't be sad to see some of the memes coin cash flow into decent projects. Yeah, I agree. And going back to just sort of, I suppose, the final bit on the meme, because I know I did a little poll, which I didn't mention, but let's just end up there. As fun as memes are, and I have a decent amount in one meme, SPX, I see them as the gamble. That is for me. I mean, all crypto is a gamble, but I absolutely, completely accept that anything that I put in there, it is a utility. It has no utility, sorry. It could go to absolutely zero. Fine, I accept that. I think too many people are bored of getting rich slow. And so they've come in late. They've heard people in past cycles make money. And they've gone, I need to make some serious bang. I'm going into meme coins. And generally, most people don't succeed in that. So occasionally someone does, or at least they pretend that they do. And that just, infatuates more people to try and do the same. But what we really need is that liquidity to go into other altcoins, because just dumping it into some random name token that we've never heard of that's only been active for 24 hours and won't be around in 24 days is not helping the genuine cycle go through. Now, that's maybe a bit of hopium. Maybe I'm totally off the mark there. Alt seasons won't happen again. I've just got to evolve because that's where the money's going to go. And I'll accept that if that's the case. But for now, I'm not willing to do that. And that might just be stubbornness. And I accept that. And if I don't make what I wanted to make out of it because I was too stubborn to change, then fair enough, and so be it. But I too, because I prefer to have altcoins with some sort of utility, see the boom, want to see people give up on memes and start trying to, not find 1,000x, just find a 10x somewhere. Which kind of leads me into the next question. I had no name in this one, so I can probably see why. Are we expecting too much from TAO in 2025 with pending new listings for Casper and SC? I don't know what SC is, I'm afraid. I can't think what that is. See a coin, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, and 10 blocks per second, 6 weeks away, and only Kraken as a big exchange. More upside in Casper over the next few months, question mark. So there's two things there. So let's, Casper, what a wild chart Casper's been as of late. So yeah, I completely accept we've got, some fundamental stuff that could come out and certainly help boost the price for Casper. But a couple of things are relying on that. One, a successful launch. And we've seen in the past that launches haven't always been successful. So we just got to bear that one in mind. But two, I got to think, it's just, what's the state of the market? You know, that for me is always it. I'm not the biggest Casper fan, and most of you that watch enough times will know that. But I look at sort of the price action of where it is and where it potentially could go. And someone pointed it out to me last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, and I just can't unsee it. You know, this potential Bart Simpson is very worrying. We have come down to the 200 EMA on the daily, and we've bounced off it. But look what we've rejected from the 50 EMA. And we're just rolling over again. Sorry. So a retest of this 200 EMA, absolutely on the cards. And we lose that. And there's nothing there. So I get the fundamental side of things, and I get there's potential for exchanges to launch. My question with it is, why haven't... I mean, Casper's not a new dog anymore. So why haven't other large exchanges picked it up? I don't know the answer to that. But it's certainly shown that it's had, you know, followers. It has some form of utility. Why aren't Binance picking it up? I don't follow it enough to know why. But it does feel that there's obviously something holding that back, because, you know, we've seen that Binance will list a MEMECOIN in 24 hours if they think it's going to help them get fees and get money. So I'm not sure what it is. But in going back to the first part of your question, are we expecting too much from Tau? I'll be clear. I'm not expecting anything from Tau in 2025. I think if it 10x's, it will have done brilliantly. I don't believe it's going to get to 22,000. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near 22,000. I don't believe it's going to get anywhere near 1%, never mind 2% of market cap. I've been clear about that for months. Not because I think it's a crap project. It's just that is asking an awful lot of any project to do, particularly when it's in its current position. And I don't know what its market cap is at the moment, but... bit sensor. Yeah, so 3 billion. 10x, take it to 30 billion. Perfect. You want it to get to 22,000 in the next 10 months, 9 months almost. What's that got to be? I can't do the maths. It's from there. Is it a 70x? A 70x? Yeah, about right. About a 70x, maybe a 60x. That's an hour to ask. That's 180 billion. And it's not just about replacing, going, 180 billion is going to go straight there. The whole market's going to go up. Everything's going to increase in value. So yeah, it may chisel off 10 or 15 places, but I just don't see it. And hey, I would love it if I'm wrong. That's one of the ones where I would love to be wrong, but I just don't think it's going to be there. So yes, I do believe that there are people in Discord that are asking too much of Tau. I worry about its marketability. I worry about its utility for, you know, in the next 10 months, what it can really achieve. I worry about how confusing it necessarily is to retail. When we try and onboard retail, anyone from the UK who wants to buy it from Binance can't. So, you know, we've got to send to other exchanges from which they need to get to do that. And then to make matters worse, and not worse, but, you know, this is effectively... I'm not going to use that analogy. I was going to say it's almost like Polkadot in the sense of BitTensor is now the root network and it has subnets coming off it. So it has its own ecosystem. That ecosystem is ever growing. And so it's just going to be even more convoluted for people to keep on top of. It was hard enough to keep on top of when there was 32 subnets, 54 now, whatever it is, 64 soon, 1,068 or whatever it's going to be in 12 months time. So that's all asking an awful lot of people to sort of buy into that one. When it's, you know, you can say a decentralized AI platform, fine. But if people are just wanting to ride the AI wave, are they not just going to get behind something which is easier to understand, more easily marketed, etc., more easily accessible to them? So I have high hopes for BitTensor. I'm not abandoning BitTensor, but I'm trying to be a bit more realistic on that. That's just my view on it. I appreciate it is completely 180 from what most people in Discord talk about, and that's fine. And, you know, I'm in the fortunate position where I hope to be wrong, because if I'm wrong, I'm going to make 7 times what I thought I was going to make. Perfect. We will go and have a look at things in a moment. Bijan just put some more. Big exchange listing doesn't necessarily mean mooning anymore. Yeah, that's absolutely right there. Lots of tokens listed on Binance in 2025, 2024 have been disastrous. Yep. I think Casper has lost its narrative. I never really bought in with it. It's silver to Bitcoin's gold sort of thing. It's got to have utility. There's plenty of means of payment tokens out there. So I think even Stephen and Darius talked about a failure in its development. I'm not sure about that. 22,000 Tau means $50 fart coin. Only if everything moves up at the same time, but I get your point, yeah, at the same rate, sorry. I agree with the marketing aspect. Solana has done well because the wallet utility is simple and easy for your Uber driver to use, yeah. Simplicity equals higher probability of mass adoption. Unfortunately, it does, especially in early days. And, BitTensor's 2 years old. I have a feeling that its subnets will do far better, depending on how alt seasons run next time round, when they've actually developed a genuine utility. And I know some of them will claim to have a bit of utility, but anyway, I'll leave that one there. Don't want to get myself in too much trouble. Right, let's actually talk about Tau, because Tau, unlike everything else, has had a day today. So well done to Tau on that. The daily chart, we've seen it move down, running into some EMAs at the moment, but this is vector candles, no vector candles forming, no abnormal amounts of volume, positive or negative within that. So maybe it does have the chance for it to run up, but it hasn't cleared what we did yesterday. That strong move up on the daily, we'll have a look at the candles in a moment, still hasn't done it. And so we're still in that downtrend. As excited as I want to be with it, that's the reality of where we find ourselves right now. So yeah, it might move up to 400, let's say, but every time for the last 3 months it's hit this line, it's bounced back. It might have spiked through, but it's not closed above it. So I can't get too excited about that one just yet, but it is promising to see, and I stand by that. Very promising to see. We'll go down to the 4 hour. Let's get rid of this now. Okay, and what I do like with the 4 hours, and I bet you when we get on the lower time frame, we're going to see some sort of W formation here. Especially with this spike up, is we've moved down, we're going to have had some sort of, we're re-attacking that neckline, and at the moment price action is above the 50 EMA. Not got through the cloud yet, but it's above the 50 EMA. So looking strong, looking positive there with this. So there's potential moves afoot. We get on to sort of the hourly. So this is starting to see that W there. That's what we're looking at, and you can see, so we're at the psychological high, which is where this price wicked yesterday afternoon, and then for me now on the 1 hour, that 50 EMA was, sorry, that trend line we were talking about happens to time with the 800 EMA just under 400. So we can have moves up to here, but for me, I hate to be that downcast, but that's what I need to see. I need to see it clear that on the hourly. Ideally, I want to see it clear this, because when I get on the 4 hour, that's really what I'm interested in. Now, I think we've got to move at least up to 390. This liquidity level seems like it wants to be grabbed, but we're leaving liquidity levels below, and we just know we don't leave those behind, not unless we've had a sharp move down. So there's still some to go, but generally they get recovered. So this blue one down here, sorry if anyone had a bit of vertigo or something there, how fast it was moving around. This blue one here, likely going to be retested at some stage. Now, what's the dream scenario then for a move upwards? Oh, what am I doing? Let's get rid of this. Sorry. I'd like to see then, on the hourly, sharp move back down, and I would want it to be sharp. Everyone will panic. Sharp move back down, but bouncing here off the 50. So retesting the 50, clearing out that vector zone. If it was a sharp move as well, I might even leave some vectors here, and then we can just go straight through it and then look to re-attack that one. That'd be nice to see. What I can say is, even on the hourly, we're making lower lows and lower highs. We don't know what this one's closing at the moment, but there's something there. It just needs to sustain itself, and That's the problem, isn't it? You know, I go back to what that total 3 chart was before, but these small moves, we've seen them, you know, and we get excited by them, and then it just falls away again. And I have benefited from just being able to sidestep this, and that's just helped me in terms of that movement. Now, granted, this one, there's always the last one that catches you out, and you accept that. I thought we were going to get, I've not drawn that very well, it doesn't matter, sort of closer down to here, that sort of 300 level. We didn't get it, and that's fine. That's where I thought we were going to head down. And if we break through it, then I'll accept that the last side step didn't work for me. But that was what I was working on, which is why I had it. I was trying to be greedy, trying to buy back in. I'd buy some 320 down to 300 was what I was looking at. And so we'll see where it goes in the next couple of days. You know, we start to see it building from this. Perfect. Interesting that actually on the daily, volume's just been standard for weeks now. And again, you know, actually, now I look at it on the daily, if this is a W, it's the best kind of W. You know, that's the lower than that bit. That's the better kind of W, really. So, you know, not breaking out the champagne yet, but nice to see, nice to have a look at. I don't think many people are in any other tokens at the moment. I'm just trying to see if there's anything worth having a look through. I mean, have a look at something, you know, Trump. Yeah, disastrous, really. We know about the sniping Melania, know about the sniping now. I'm surprised it didn't fall further, to be honest. Some people said Zappy's disappeared. It has disappeared. I've got rid of it off my chart now. In my views, you shouldn't be in it. It's a dead project. And so, yeah, and Tony's not looking much better, unfortunately. Very low at the moment, and volume's very low too. Ethereum, I think that's definitely worth having a look for. I will have a look at Virtues, absolutely. Thank you, it's a good spot there. So Ethereum's just, I mean, again, back down to the Trump lows, but, and I think I said this last week, can't seem to lose this 800 EMA, so it's finding some strength at the moment, bunching on this one. It is getting squeezed between the 800 EMA and the 10, and this is still in a bit of a downtrend. So it may lose it, but the 800 is its saving grace right now, and it's the only thing holding it up. I think we lose that. Realistically, you're probably looking at 200 as sort of a new test, and then we'll see where it gets to. But that square there, maybe to have a re-attack of that wick down. Before I get to virtuals, no, virtuals it is. So virtual, I mean, it's on the logarithmic chart, so it doesn't look as bad as what it is. You know, you think, oh, okay, it's only fallen a little bit. But actually, back here it was at 2 cents. At the top, it was at $5. We're now at $1. I don't know when Simon got in. I was getting in at sort of like 360. I think he got some at 4. So, you know, it was nice because it came down off here. I thought I'm buying, and then it's just fallen away. And I sold a while back. Nice, tasty loss. But I'm not sure. It might have even been off something like that high test. But for me, we're in no man's land right now with virtuals. So virtuals is either going to continue to collapse, which I think is a high probability, to find some sort of footing. Look, by the way, Bitcoin's making that move that I talked about. So 95K, going to take it on the hourly. I said we might get back up to that sort of 95, 96 level. We're starting to see that move. There's still plenty of work to do. We're starting to see that move back up to the daily open we talked about before falling away. So be interesting to see how that one plays out. But of course, that's going to help lift it. Tao's getting a bit of a benefit and a push from that as well. Everything else is kind of still struggling. Back to virtues though. Sorry, I just saw that at the corner of my eye. See, I'm not all doom and gloom, promise you. But yeah, so what have we got here that's, firstly, we're below every EMA we can track at the moment. So the 200, the 10, the 20, and the 50 on the daily, we're tracking below that there. In terms of sort of just, we've had a peak, we've come back down, we've lost it, we've retested with a monster high test, bouncing off the 50 EMA, come back down, low test off to 200, but not being able to sustain it. We've come back, and the 10's just, you know, the 10's kind of just been beating us down the whole way through, and that's continuing. The reason I say is there's not much support. I mean, what is there in reality? Because it's such a strong move up from here, 59 cents to there. We're actually seeing, and what is Virtue's protocol? It's effectively AI meme coins. You know, AI ultimately, isn't it? So if we're out of favor with meme coins as well, then it's just not the right time. So we've got all this. I mean, it's only on the daily, and we've got all of these vector candles. But in terms of, sorry, I don't know. That would be. We'll throw a fib on in a minute, but it's just that'll be that. And then after that, God forbid, $30 cents is lost. I mean, you're looking sub 10 cents. You have to be. You know, it has to be there. Now, let's throw a fib on. And the fib's going to have to go. It's going to have to go from down here. I will do two, but let's just do this one first. Okay. So, I mean, this one's looking pretty good. Why is it looking good? I'm going to have to get rid of these yellow boxes. Just remember where they were. We have a look at it on the way up. Let's come up here. We've got to the 0.5. We found some rest on it. Tried to get through the 382, come back down. We burst through it. Obviously found our top. We've come back down. And then the 236 on the way down is what's our rejection point. Yes, okay, it's coincided with the 200 EMA and the 10 EMA in the daily, but it has. So it's giving me some sort of confidence of levels to look at. And that 36 cents we just talked about with the box, 0.5, 20 cents. I mean, 618s are notoriously targeted. There's nothing from a previous price action is really holding that one up, but you know, I wouldn't necessarily rule it out. And then, okay, I went 6 cents. It's really looking at 8 cents down there, but that's what I'd be looking at. I'm assuming none of you are in it. I think there's a good chance for a short on this one, to be honest. But yeah, speaking of shorts, I almost placed a short today, and I talked myself out of it because I reminded myself, you know, I've not been studying the charts since to try and find proper entries on the 5 and 15 minute or anything. And I try and finish with this one positive spin if I can. You know, it's at times like this in which people start to give up. Even I'm feeling pretty down about myself in just where the market is. I'm not interested in updating my portfolio, and I haven't. I'm not interested in checking my portfolio. I'm not really interested in charting. If it wasn't a call tonight, I probably would have just been out. It's half term after all. And that's the kind, for me, that is the sentiment that is usually there before some sort of reversal. And so when I did say, I probably should place a short, I just thought, no, that's the silly thing to do without me actually looking at anything. That's just probably me just giving money back to the market. So I decided against it. That might be hopinism, whatever you want to call it, in terms of, you know, just me ignoring what's blatantly there, and that alt seasons are not going to do, or sorry, altcoins are not going to do what I want them to do. And I get that. You know, the total 3 chart does not paint a particularly attractive picture at the moment for a reversal. But, you know, and it is only 70 billion. It just rolls off the tongue these days. Another 70 billion into the market, and we're retesting this neckline. We can break through that neckline. It's a completely different story, and it is a narrative shift, and you'll be amazed at how quickly, one, that fear and greed chart climbs back up, 2, how quickly the sentiment changes. And sentiment will change. Discord's a perfect analogy of where, not analogy, but an example of where sentiment is. Bad days, it's quiet. Good days, people are chatting. And I swear when it comes back, I'm sure it will. So I suppose the long-winded way of saying is, I'm positioning myself where the altcoins that I haven't sold, now is not the time to sell them, because sentiment is at a point where it could move. And generally there is an argument, particularly with BTC, from a support level where it may climb away. And if BTC does, altcoins, they may not move as much, but they should see some sort of recovery, and maybe there's a better opportunity to get out. But also, we're seeing some really negative sentiment despite fundamentally positive news. And I feel that shift is either price being suppressed so that people can buy. We see that happening all the time. Or it's just a trap. It's just a bear trap, trying to get people to go short. And I didn't get it in time. Someone sent it to me. I don't know if it was on WhatsApp or it might have been someone like Bijan on Discord. record amount of Ethereum shorts are being placed at the moment, so that kind of stuff just says to me, feels like if retail are thinking that, the clever people are going to do the opposite. And so I'm just holding on. I know it's difficult, and trust me, for those of you that come into the cuddle on Saturday, you're almost going to laugh at what I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about how we can spot a blow off top, how we can spot the market top. We're nowhere near sentiment right now to be thinking we're anywhere near a market top, but I'm going to try and express it because it's something that I wanted to talk about, and I thought now would be the right time to do it when I came up with the idea after the last cuddle. Funny how times have changed. And I'll leave you maybe with just, sort of one final thought. The longer that we do consolidate, at this level, BTC we're on at the moment on the day, the longer we consolidate, and we are consolidating, this is not a bad thing. We are consolidating in a range, much like when we were ranging between 70,000 and 50,000. Every time we got in the low 60s, 50s, it felt like the end of the world. We're still at 95,000. But the longer we consolidate this range, the more likely that the 4-year cycle will play out, and it will be a Q4 finish. People who, like me, that, suggested we may see a blow off top in Q1, Q2, and then a recovery, and then back into another top in sort of Q4. Well, if this is just what we're going to do with ranges, that's likely not going to be the case. Unfortunately, we may venture out to the side for freaking ages, and then sort of back end of the summer, might start to see, where's my pen? Some sort of move, we do this, and then we start to see some sort of move. That might be it. But the longer we do that, the more chance it is that we will see some sort of climb up. So don't write off this bull market just yet. Yes, be cautious. Yes, ask yourself the question of whether or not the information you're seeing is still agreeing with why you think it's going to be. Altcoins aren't the greatest at the moment, and maybe we don't see the 20, 30 X's that we've seen in previous ones. I think that's a talk for another day. But they're not just going to all go to zero. Okay, we will see movement again. We just may not see the movement for us to be buying our Lamborghinis or whatever it is that you were dreaming of doing this cycle. And yeah, that's okay too. As long as we get out of this with some money, then we've got it. I made this apology like at the end of the last call. I didn't necessarily think I'd have to, I don't deliberately intend to potentially come off bearish, but I only talk about what I can see within the charts. I think what we spoke about last week kind of came true this week. It is unfortunately the position we found ourselves in. But we're getting closer to those levels where we might see the bounce. Doesn't mean we will, of course, but we are getting at those levels now. And as I just said, maybe that move we just saw right now might be the start of it. Anyway, I'm just rambling for the sake of rambling here. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, Bijan, good point there. You need to just have be realistic, protect your bags. I mean, ultimately, regardless of what you may think or what you hear me say or anyone say or some random person on Twitter say, it's your money at the end of the day. Protect it as best you can in whatever means you can. Don't feel you need to hit a moonshot every week, but at the same time, don't be stuck going, I'll just maybe next cycle will be my cycle. There's still opportunities to make that money. Anyway, I'm gonna end it there. I will hopefully see some of you on Saturday. Be good to have a bit of a catch up and see where everyone is and all of that. Failing that, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let's hope that Tau has turned that corner. I'll be monitoring it, giving my thoughts as I always do. If you've got any questions for me now and then, feel free to reach out to me. And other than that, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers now.